Here's more wrestling news for July 14th, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include: did WWE SmackDown call-ups affect NXT's continuity? WWE rejected Murphy's pitch to join Paul Heyman's stable. Murphy reveals how WWE botched his name change. Paul Heyman on whether his allegiance is with Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. Kurt Angle trolls Conor McGregor's broken Freakin ankle. WWE wrestler is relieved as multi-million-dollar lawsuit against him is dismissed. Former WWE champion says, "I'm not done lacing up the boots forever." Looks like Shotzi is no longer a Blackheart, and more. We're starting with NXT, which recently lost two of their biggest names to SmackDown. Shotzi Blackheart was called up to the Blue brand last week, but instead of going with Ember Moon, she left NXT with Tegan Nox, who had just returned to the Gold brand after an injury, costing Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell the NXT Women's Tag titles. With Nox now off NXT, any plans for a feud involving her and The Way are presumably dead, and it just goes to show how little regard Vince McMahon has for NXT's continuity. Fans will remember that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were briefly called up in 2019, only to go back to NXT with little fanfare. Soon, NXT will also be losing Toni Storm, who was last seen rejecting a challenge from Sarray, so their feud is yet another plan that the Gold brand is losing thanks to these call-ups. It even seemed like Shotzi Blackheart was going to get a shot at NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez, but fans can add this feud to the long list of plans for NXT, ruined by this latest wave of call-ups. During their SmackDown debut, the graphic for SmackDown's newest team called them Shotzi and Nox, as fans speculated whether they'd had the dreaded main roster name change. On commentary and Talking Smack, the pair were referred to by their full names, and if we can trust the WWE.com roster page, only one of them is getting a name change. On the page, Nox is still Tegan Nox, while her partner is now just Shotzi, and we'll find out more later this week on the pair's second SmackDown appearance. Last month, Buddy Murphy was released after a strange time on WWE's main roster, which included aligning with Seth Rollins, joining the Mysterios, and an on-screen romance with Aaliyah. Speaking to Chris Van Vliet of Insight this week, Murphy revealed one idea he pitched that never made it to air, which would have seen him shoot up the SmackDown card. Heyman loved it. I even mentioned it to the Usos, who loved it. It was basically to get me as, not a part of the bloodline, but to be an associate of Paul Heyman. I don't take orders from Roman Reigns, but I do his bidding because Heyman asked me to do so. It was like a sub-story on the side of Heyman. Describing the character as similar to comic book character Judge Dredd, Murphy noted that Triple H loved the idea when it was pitched to him, but it ultimately had to be approved by Vince McMahon. Obviously, that angle never saw TV despite the game being on board, and we'll never know what Murphy could have done as Heyman's hired gun. More Murphy news next, as before being released, the Australian lost the Buddy part of his name, something that fans have blamed Vince McMahon for. It turns out that fans have been pinning the blame on the wrong man, as during the interview with Chris Van Vliet, Murphy admitted that it was his idea to shorten his name, which stemmed from his program as a disciple of Seth Rollins. He said, "We're doing this disciple character, right? And Buddy Murphy, the disciple, didn't quite fit. So I said, how about I sacrifice my given name for the greater good? So now I'm being a reborn to Seth. Your parents give you your name, but I'm sacrificing it, and now I will be known as this, like a number, right? For the greater cause." And they're like, "Okay." And next week I'm just Murphy. Never explained. WWE could have made something really cool out of Murphy giving up his first name for Rollins, but the company never explained it to fans, so it's not hard to see why audiences thought Murphy was just the latest victim of Vince McMahon's war on names. In that same interview, Murphy discussed his 90-day non-compete clause, which expires on August 31st, saying these clauses are meant to kill all the hype and momentum from released superstars ahead of joining another company. WWE may be wanting to kill Murphy's momentum, but that's proving to be easier said than done, as audiences remain excited to see where the former Cruiserweight champion goes next. Back to WWE, and before aligning with Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman was the advocate for Brock Lesnar, who hasn't been seen since last year's WrestleMania 36. Speaking to the Metro UK newspaper, Heyman was asked if his allegiance to both men could create a conflict of interest, and he responded, saying, "Well, that's a hypothetical question, and I deal in facts, not hypotheticals. My father used to say, if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. She doesn't exist, so she's not. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do. If Brock Lesnar wants to return to WWE, he will. If Brock Lesnar wants to take the UFC Championship from Francis Ngannou, he will. If Brock Lesnar wants to join football and run circles around Neymar and Ronaldo and David Beckham, he will. If Brock Lesnar wants to get involved with rugby, he'll smash every record of any rugby player in the history of the game, and he will. Heyman isn't worried about being stuck between Lesnar and Reigns, at least not yet, as there's no word on when, if ever, the Beast will return. If Lesnar does return, then Heyman will have to address a conflict of interest, especially if Brock seeks to dethrone Reigns as Universal Champion. But until then, Paulie will continue on as the special counsel to the head of the table. MMA news next, as UFC 246 didn't end as Conor McGregor had hoped, as he came up short to Dustin Poirier and was on the mat threatening to murder Poirier and his wife Jolie in their sleep. In McGregor's defense, the Notorious One suffered an ankle injury that led to doctor stoppage, but that didn't garner much sympathy from Kurt Angle. On Twitter, Angle trolled McGregor's injury, joking that he breaks his ankle all the time, and even claimed he broke his ankle that morning and was now jumping around. Kurt also couldn't help but remind people that he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. McGregor will get another shot at Poirier again when he's healed and ready, but despite the Notorious One having a lot of healing to do, plus some new hardware in his leg after 3.5 hours of surgery, Angle still thinks he should have finished the fight. Last year, indie wrestler Candy Cartwright, aka Samantha Tavel, filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Riddle with claims of physical misconduct by the Raw superstar. Tavel claimed that not only was Riddle physical with her in a non-consensual way, but that he used his influence to cost Tavel bookings in Evolve and a tryout with WWE. In March this year, WWE and Gabe Sapolsky, Evolve's founder, were both dismissed from the case, with the court saying Tavel hadn't produced evidence WWE had personal jurisdiction in this matter, and this week, Tavel filed documents to dismiss the lawsuit against Riddle. In a statement, Tavel's lawyer said that the two parties have put this matter in their past and are focused on the future, although there's no word on if the two sides reached a monetary settlement. Last December, Riddle sought to have the case dismissed as he admitted to having an affair with Tavel, but refused the claims of illegal activity against her. Now, the original bro will compete in this Sunday's Men's Money in the Bank ladder match and won't have to worry about this lawsuit anymore. And we're ending with NXT commentator Beth Phoenix, who last competed in the 2020 Women's Royal Rumble match, but she's not done in the ring yet. Speaking on oral sessions, the Glamazon said she's medically cleared to wrestle and added that she's not done lacing up her boots. Beth didn't specify any potential opponents, only saying she has a feeling that there's somebody that will be across the ring from her at some point, and time will tell who steps in the ring with the former women's champion. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.